I know it's hard to see because I'm way too close to it, but guys, here's my stand-up egg incubator, and I kind of want to talk about it just real quick and post a video out there about it. So I was looking up these big stand-up incubators and how they build them in other countries and successes that they were having and so on and so forth. And I decided to take the jump and build one last year. Now this is an old fridge. I got it for free, guys. I waited on Marketplace and I looked around because I knew I wanted to do this, and I got this old fridge for free. You know, the big sliding doors, you see them in the old markets. And I gutted it out. I took all the stuff out of it. My thought is these walls, they're double layered with a bunch of padding in the inside. You can see it right there, kind of a bunch of insulation. And I figured it would maintain the temperature better than other options. Now, I bought a bunch of stuff off Amazon, little heating elements and all these other things, and I realized I didn't want to use them. So here's what I ended up doing and how I built it and kind of some of the things that I've changed over time and the things I've noticed. So first and foremost, get one of those right there. I don't care the brand, but you see what I'm talking about. One of those plugs on the left is a heating plug, one of them is a cooling plug, and then there's a little thermometer probe, whatever you want to call it, that runs inside of here. And I can actually go in here quick. Right here's that little temperature probe. I have it, you know, just a little more than halfway up, but in somewhere that's regulating, so that way it's reading the temperature for up there. So the one temperature is what I have it set at, the other one's what it's currently at, and then there's a temperature off of that, or an amount off of that, that'll either kick on my heater or my fans. I will tell you right now that that is not always accurate. It says 101, and if I come over here and grab my little infrared, which I encourage everybody to get, and I come in here and just start checking areas, this says 102 right now. 101, 102. If I go over here, that's saying 98. If I come up here, and I'm trying to do the plastic itself, not the eggs, because the eggs obviously have living beings in them, that's saying 98. If I do the outside of plastic, it says 100. So that kind of brings me to the other point here. It's been a pain in the butt to try to maintain temperature in here. Some of the things I did when I built it, there's a little fan in there that blows down. I don't think it was moving it enough, right? I used to have much wider ranges throughout here. So what I did just the other day, took a big old box fan, I threw it in there and turned it on to get more circulation in there. And you can definitely see that there's more circulation in there. You can see stuff, little things here and there blowing around. But I'm getting some movement of air in there. I also have, well, I don't think that thermometer up there is correct, because one day I tried to set it off that thermometer and kept raising my temperature until I got there, and it was way too hot. I have another thermometer right there I can pull out and check. But essentially, you just need to keep playing with it and try to get the right temperature. The big issue we have here is obviously it's a large space and needs to warm it up. So the little heating elements I was seeing weren't going to work. So what I did, and if I look in there, see that? Just a heat gun, just a cheap off Amazon. That cost me less off Amazon than some of the heating elements. And what's crazy is that is a heating element and a fan. So, you know, again, I have that plug just coming out and going up to that controller up there. And then essentially I can turn it on high or low, but you can hear it kicked on right now. So the fan's running 24/7 up here, and then that heating element is kicked on right now and trying to get it back up to the 101 that it says that I have it set at, which again is not the most accurate temperature in the world. So keep that in mind. The other thing I do is for the cooling section, I have this fan here, which probably releases some of the air that I could be keeping in there to maintain the temperature better. And if I'd stop opening and closing the door. But if it gets too warm in there, if that temperature spikes too fast, it'll kick that little fan on and just blow some hot air out. That way everything can kind of level out. Now I've successfully hatched chickens out of here, so don't think that that little difference in temperature is going to make a huge difference. All of these eggs in here are fertile right now. Well, let me rephrase that. All of these eggs in this tray that were put in here, you know, earlier within the last 2 weeks are all fertile. I've removed 2 eggs out of all of those that were candled and infertile. All the eggs up here are also fertile, which come from our duck pens over here, but they get separated out from these eggs because these are all either silkies or the giants. What am I thinking of? Whatever, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. It's been a long day. But anyways, these are all fertile, and these were just put in, so I haven't checked those yet. But I have fertility, and I have hatches. So I'm just starting getting to the point of the year where my incubator can actually maintain temperature. Wasn't doing a good job when we were getting our single-digit winters. But we started having hatches in the last couple days already, and these guys are doing just fine, aren't you? So it does work. There was still an expense on it, but I can tell you right now, here's the issue, okay? Here's the incubator that you pick up from wherever, Tractor Supply, I think, with the tilter and all of that. I had issues where it wouldn't maintain temperature because it's too small. That was a big issue that I ran into in the winter, is this would not maintain temperature, which is great if you want to keep it in your house. But, you know, I'm out in the barn, and this is my little animal area, so to say, with the incubator and the fridge to keep eggs and all of this. Okay, I have it out in the barn, right? And I have a couple of these incubators like this, and they won't maintain temperature when it gets cold. So we had an issue where even when we would have it set, it would be the right temperature in there, and all of a sudden that temperature would rise, and we don't really have a reason because it was saying it was correct on the box. And this isn't, I'm not the only one that's had this issue, guys. My mom has a more expensive version of this that she said she's paid, I think, something stupid like $180 for, that again is not maintaining temperature and not correctly monitoring temperature. So we run into the same issue where you have to get this and then find a thermometer such as this one or some of the little orange ones, or, you know, the infrared, and you have to hope that one of those is accurate, because the reality is that thermometer could be wrong, the thermometer in there could be wrong, the thermometer up there is clearly wrong because that says it's 92 degrees in there, and that says it's 101 in there, and I don't read that one yet, and then this one over here is saying it's 100 degrees in there, so we don't know which one's really correct. So yeah, should you build a big stand-up? I think so. A lot of people talk about having to get all these tilter trays, and if you look over at some of the videos from overseas, they got big automatic tilters. I bought the equipment to make an automatic tilter. It's actually over here. Look, there's the little electric motor, and the pieces are back here somewhere to be able to change the speed and so on. You know what I found? If I'm really worried about tilting it, that chunk of wood in here, this is actually in here because I used to go through and I used to tilt this end up, and then I would come out at midday and tilt it the other way, and I would tilt it the other way. And you know what I found out? Check that thermometer right now. Right about 95. Anyways, you know what I found out? It really didn't make that much of a difference. If I come over here and I just do this, we have a really good success rate with just moving them around. Or you pick them up and you incubate them. I mean, not incubate them, you candle them. And we have a pretty good success rate. So the big issue we have when I open this door, temperature's going to drop, and it's going to drop fast. It's a big door, so you just don't open it unless you really need to open it. But obviously, you know, if I would clean my glass is dirty right now. But if I clean my glass, we could see in there a whole lot better. And then I just put a light behind me, light right there, just so I can see in there. Because without that light, if I turn that light around, it kind of gets hard to see. So we just turn that light around so we have something. So it will work. These weren't bad to build. The way I did it with the heating gun, whatever the word, heat gun, and that little controller, and then those fans, it really wasn't bad. It really wasn't. I have a lot less into that than I have into this incubator, which is crazy to think about. I don't have the, you know, tilter, but that incubator right there cost me more than that incubator. Some things that I do need to do when I got this, the shelves were really far apart, and obviously I want them closer together so I can put racks in there. So I don't have enough shelves for this side. Now I've done some other things with this side. We had some stuff going on up here with trying to do soldier flies, and down there right now I have some seeds, just some cracked grains that I'm trying to put under heat to see if they will sprout. But that works out because I can keep adding water to that, which increases the humidity inside of my whole incubator. So it did work. It does take up a ton of room, but if I get more shelves like I want to, and I get everything put in place, I could put a lot of eggs in here, guys. So that's the plan. I have more of these red trays. Obviously, there's the one down there. There's a couple more over here. I started putting eggs into, let me open this up, some of these small bins. I think you get like 10 of these for $10 at Walmart or something like that. And then these little planter bins back there. You see that? Again, you buy those for nothing, especially off season, and it holds enough for me to put a day's worth of eggs in there. So, I mean, that's where we're at right now. Is this is a day's worth, that's a day's worth, but obviously as egg production increases with it being spring, probably gonna need more room than that. But that's where we're trying to get to, is a day's worth of eggs at a time, and just have individual labeled, slide them in. And then when we get close, we want to transfer them to something like this, so when the chickens hatch, they don't fall out, which they haven't fallen out of this because this is where they're hatching from right now. But that's the theory, guys. The theory is eggs can hatch in there, stay in there until they get to a day or two old, and then moved over to here where they can, you know, have more free range and temperature controlled. I did a video on this, but one of the things I talked about is just a short. One of the things I talked about is my temperature range across here. I have the light set up over here at a lower angle than what you would think. That way over here I get, you know, 110 degrees-ish. It's 111. But as the chickens get warm, they can move away or closer. They can thermal regulate on their own. Over here's 103. Back here where this baby chicken's at, his face is in 96. His butt is in 76. And them chickens can dig into the wood chips or thermal regulate. You know, he might be feeling a little warm now. He's like, oh, I got to get out of here. But the big thing is if we have a cold flash in the middle of the night, you're set up to have, you know, a perfect 85 degrees or whatever. During the day is not going to be 85 degrees at night. It just simply isn't, and that's kind of how I think about it. I want to get like 110 over there in the middle of the day, and then when we drop 20 degrees at night, that should be better. So this is my setup. It works. It's not for everybody, but it was a cost-effective way to hatch a lot of eggs for duck, quail, chickens, and any other dumb things that I buy. I still use these occasionally in summer for, you know, like special grow outs. Say I want to do a bunch of pheasants or something like that. You know, we have this as an option to kind of keep them segregated. But at the end of the day, most of our eggs that are coming off our homestead that we're going to hatch out are going to go into here, and it works. So get out there and build cool things. Don't be afraid of some of the information you see out there that say like, oh, you got to have exactly this temperature, because chickens don't even do that. We all know that chickens will sit on an egg and then go eat and then go hang out a little bit, come back to the eggs, and they'll hatch just fine. So get the temperatures close. Sure, you'll have a higher success rate if you have a Turner or so on and so forth. Some people out there are proving that wrong nowadays, that they're having just as good of a success rate with like quail without a Turner. So do your own research and don't trust everything, because these corporations want us to buy things. Okay, that's what you have to remember. There's a reason they won't tell us what's in their feeds, but they tell us we must feed pellet instead of just telling us what we can feed. They want you to buy the pellet. Same thing goes with these incubators. Are like, you have to have this and that and the other. But then you look at the videos from like the Philippines, and they're building stuff like this and getting decent success rates out of it at, you know, a 1/10 of the price. So get out there and build cool things, and most importantly, just have fun. Have fun with animals. Have fun, you know, bringing life into the world, because I tell you right now, these little chickens, they're cute. They're so freaking cute. Look at it. What's your name? Are you Chicken Nugget? Just kidding. So get out there, build cool things, and have fun.